All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys, we'd like to welcome you to the show. This is your host of the evening, DJ Just Jay with Just Dimes ENT. I'm here to tell you guys about another story. This is a small disclaimer for the people that are not able to handle our content. We're going to talk about some things that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. So all I ask is if you guys are sensitive or if you guys want me to be politically correct, this is not the channel for you. Hit that red X in the top right corner and exit my channel because there's no need to flag my videos. I like poking fun, but there's no need to flag my channels. All I ask for you guys to do is if you can't handle the content, just exit my channel. But we're going to talk about some things. We're going to bring out some information that I believe that the news should have brought out, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Police in Newark, New Jersey have arrested this guy on my screen who is the boyfriend of a mother whose 7-year-old son was found dead inside their Newark, New Jersey home on Monday. The boy's cousin, her name is Sonia Monroe, pleaded with the boyfriend to come forward. And she left this message on the news and she said, "Just turn yourself in. We want justice for Ayden. He was a smart and awesome kid, great bubbly personality." Now, Mark Harper, who's age 36, was identified as the boyfriend of Ayden Brown's mother, had initially been charged with child endangerment in Ayden's death, but the charges were then upgraded. So if I would have did this story initially, we would have only had a charge of child endangerment, but now that charge has been upgraded to murder, and that was on Wednesday, which was, of course, yesterday. Chief Assistant Prosecutor Thomas Finley said. Now, I'm going to bring some information out that maybe you guys may or may not know. I don't know how much you guys look at the news, if you guys have saw this story, if this is your first time hearing about this story. I think it's important as parents that we don't put our children in precarious situations. How many of you guys can agree to that? Right? I believe it's important for us not to put our children in bad situations. From my understanding, based on what I've read and studied over the past 48 hours, the mother of Ayden Brown didn't know this guy very well, or at least for very long. She ended up going to work and she left her son in the possession of her quote-unquote boyfriend, which is nothing more than just the guy she's sleeping with. Not a husband, not her fiance, nothing more, nothing less. Just some dude that she's sleeping with. She didn't know him for very long. And of course, I've told you guys, this is exactly what happens when you start bringing people around your children that are not their DNA biological parents. This is why I don't believe that you should do it at all. But you damn sure should be very, very careful, because those people that you allow into your house, to your domicile around your children, are not going to care for your children the way that they might care for theirs. You might get very, very lucky, but more times than none when you're dating around, it's just not a smart thing to do. This is another example of that. I've called that out plenty of times. I said that the mother and father, the DNA biological mother and father, should be in the household, because more times than none, they're going to take care of that kid better than anybody that is not that biological parent. I've said that before. Nothing more than a boyfriend, and look what happened. Now, what I'm going to end up doing, which might surprise some of you guys, is I believe I have the identity of the mother. I think it's important because you have family members speaking out, but one person that did not come out to speak out against the boyfriend was the mother, and I think that's a damn shame, and I'm getting ready to call her out for that. Now, Mark Harper, age 36, had initially been charged with child endangerment, but it was upgraded to murder. Now, acting Essex County Prosecutor Theodore Stevens said on Wednesday that the death of the 7-year-old boy had been ruled a homicide and that the cause of death is blunt force injury, meaning that somebody took something, or more than likely with their hands, beat this second-grade boy so hard that he ended up dying, which is also another reason why I am against corporal punishment. I believe, and I was just telling my friend about this earlier, that I believe that if you have to put your hands, feet, or other objects on a child just to get them to do what you want them to do, then you're not suitable to be a parent. if you can't talk to that kid, reason with that kid, and that kid doesn't respect you, then you have failed as a parent. I'll say that again. If you have to beat a child to get them to do what it is that you want them to do because they don't respect you, then you failed as a parent, and you probably should not be around that kid. I am 100% against corporal punishment. Okay? Now, prosecutors did not explain exactly how the child was killed or what motivated Brown. So that'll all come out in court. Now, Ayden Brown was a second grade student at University Charter School in Newark. Police officers found Brown unresponsive in a Weequahic, it's spelled Weequahic, Weequahic Avenue home, and I know y'all get on me about pronunciation, but I'm trying, around 8 a.m. Monday when they responded to a report of a sick and injured child. He was pronounced dead at Newark Beth Israel Medical Center just over an hour later. An autopsy was done by the N.Jersey Northern Regional Medical Examiner's Office in Newark. That's a long description. Officers and law enforcement sources have said Harper was caring for the boy when Brown's mother went to work Sunday night. I'm going to read that again. Officials and law enforcement said that Harper was caring for the boy when Brown's mother went to work Sunday night. My question, I might be dipping a little bit in her business, but my question is, what does she do for a living that she has to go to work on Sunday night? I think if you were to ask these questions and get answers to these questions, I think it gives you an idea about the type of people that we're dealing with, right? You have people like cousins speaking out, grandparents speaking out, cousins speaking out and stuff like that are coming out and saying that this dude should give himself up. But I'm wondering, why does she have to leave her son in this man's possession, which you could tell from that? Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's take a step back. Let's go back. That teardrop on his face, that teardrop tattoo. If you guys are familiar with gangs, then you guys usually know that that teardrop is supposed to signify that you have committed murder. You have killed a person. How many of you guys know that? The teardrop tattoo tears, is supposed to signify that you have committed a murder. So if you are signifying that this is something that you've done because you're wearing the uniform of a thug, and the mother had to have known that he was a thug because the mother actually likes thugs. I've dipped into a little bit of her Facebook page. The mother tends to like thugs, and if you like thugs, then as I said on the last show, this is going to be one of my staying mantras here. If you date thugs, then you date death. Can somebody type that in the chat for me? In my opinion, if you date thugs, you date death. Whether it happens to you or your children or someone that you love, that's going to be the case more times than none. If you date thugs, you date death. In this case, this woman has lost her son due to the fact that she likes thug dick. Is that a harsh stance? You're damn right it is. But should we not take a harsh stance against parents that put their children in bad positions? I absolutely believe we should. Because our children cannot defend themselves. Our children cannot speak out for themselves. Our children cannot prevent someone bringing harm to them. So it is up to us all as parents, the village, to take care of these children and to speak out against the injustices that they face. Right? Now, I personally believe this woman on my screen, and I'm going to pause it right here because this is important. The reason why you guys are looking at this photo here is because this is the person that I believe is the mother of that boy. Now, people might wonder, why might I put this information out there? Why might I put this picture out there? Because if you guys have not read the news, there was actually a thing where once he called the police, the boyfriend, he called the police and said something happened to the boy, and then he turned around and left the home, left the boy dead. So when they showed up to that house or to that duplex, whatever it is, they found the boy dead and unresponsive. The car that he left in was a blue Nissan Altima. When they were initially looking for him, they were looking for a blue Nissan Altima. Has anybody caught that from the picture yet? Are we catching the context clues yet? I'm waiting on somebody to pick it up. When the boyfriend called the mother and said something's wrong with the kid, she told him to call 911. This is all alleged until we get the full details. He called 911 and said that something was wrong with the boy. Once 911 came, they got there and the man was gone, but the kid was in the house dead. West Coast Honey caught it. That's the car. And this took a lot of looking, but I said, holy shit. I said, that looks like a Nissan Altima. That looks like a blue car. And that looks like the mother. The mother's name, based on what I found, this is all alleged at this point. I don't know this for a fact, but her name is Melanie Brown. It seems to make sense because she referred to this boy that I had in a lot of pictures that I'm not going to show right now in some younger photos, referring to her son Ayden in photos, and I believe that her name is Melanie Brown. The reason I bring that up is because of the fact that why is it that we're so quick to put out the identity of victims? We're so quick to put out the identity of criminal perpetrators, but when it comes to women, for some strange reason, we feel like even if they are the perpetrators in these situations, their information is never put out. Nobody ever knows who they are, and they just kind of fly under the radar. What if she has other children? What if she's still, even after this situation, likes thugs? That potentially means she could be putting her other children at risk based on the type of decisions that she makes. You guys catch that? That means if she has other children or if she continues to procreate and make other children, she could potentially be putting them at harm's risk by way of her bad decisions. And I think that it is important that as parents and as protectors, we make sure that the world knows this is what's going on. Melanie Brown, this is the type of dudes that she likes to date. They got so frustrated with her kid for whatever reason, with a second grader, that you took your fist or whatever you did and beat the boy to death. How cowardly is that? This little bitty boy, you mean to tell me that you can't demand respect from him just by way of the way that you act, talk to him, reason with him? No, what do you got to do? You got to beat the children. And I think that's wrong. You guys catch that? Melanie Brown? Melanie Brown likes to date thugs. This dude, Mark Harper, age 36. And they're roughly about the same age. That's why I believe that we probably are calling out the right person. Either Melanie Jordan or Melanie Jordan Brown. And by the way, the mom also has a little bit of a criminal history. How ironic is that? Let's keep going. Now, the boyfriend allegedly called the mother at work Monday morning to tell her that there was something wrong with her child, and she told him to call 911, adding that when the EMT arrived at the scene, they found the boy on the floor, and their initial impression was that the child was, quote, unquote, beaten to death. The boyfriend was not at the home at the time, and family members said the boyfriend of the child's mother left the scene as soon as the ambulance arrived. Family members and neighbors were quick to demand justice for the boy. They say, that baby didn't deserve that. That baby can't fight for himself. He can't protect himself. I can't imagine the fear in that poor baby. He was just so scared and just wanted his mom, which is what Naisha Webb, a neighbor, said. Speaking about a lot of the things that I say. Harper has been in Essex County Jail pending a detention hearing in Superior Court, Newark. The incident remains under investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding Brown's death. Brown's family members describe him as bubbly and full of life. He was a second-grade student at University Charter School in Newark. Ayden was a healthy young man. Ayden was a good little boy. The victim's great aunt said, whose name is Judy Ingram. So they're putting out the great aunt's name, right? You take a life, yours is going to be taken too. He didn't have to do my great nephew like that, so he will be punished. Threatening the man with death, I don't think is such a smart thing to do, but nonetheless. He has a criminal record that includes a 9-year sentence in 2006 on drug dealing and resisting arrest charges. He was also convicted in 2012 on aggravated assault charges and has been arrested for a parole violation. That guy. She likes thugs. Now, since this investigation is ongoing, anybody with information is asked to call the prosecutor's tip line at 877-847-7432 if you guys live in that area and if you guys actually know what's going on. If you don't, then don't call. But if you do actually have pertinent information, then by all means, they're asking for tips to come in. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the fair usage before we show the news videos, and then we're going to go ahead and get this thing going. All right? Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. You guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up, please.
And now a tragic discovery at a New Jersey home. A 7-year-old boy was found beaten to death at a house on Wequahic Avenue in Newark. Now, according to a law enforcement source, that's what happened. We just got this photo of the boy. His great aunt identifies him as Ayden Brown. The law enforcement source tells us his mother's boyfriend is the prime suspect, and right now, he is nowhere to be found. News 4's Jamie Roth is live in Newark. And Jamie, you have new information about what happened here.
And the family of that 7-year-old boy keeps stopping by the neighborhood to see for themselves. And they have one message for the suspect: turn yourself in.
And I meant it from the bottom of my heart. Give yourself up.
I think that's weird. That's the great aunt right there. So I'll back it up on her. Judy Ingram is the great aunt. But I think that's weird how the mother is not out campaigning on TV asking her boyfriend to give himself up for murdering her child. I'm sorry for getting upset, but that's weird to me. Everybody else in the community is speaking out, including us, but the mother is not. Melody Brown is not speaking out. Why is that?
Yourself in.
And I meant it from the bottom of my heart. Give yourself up.
Judy Ingram leaned on family as she walked away from her great-nephew's home. Sources tell News 4 police found 7-year-old Ayden Brown inside this morning, beaten to death. Police say the boy's mother's boyfriend is the prime suspect.
That baby didn't deserve that. That baby couldn't fight for himself. He couldn't protect himself.
Himself, it's himself. I know I don't speak properly always. It's not his self. My mama used to tell us that all the time. It's not his self, it's himself.
Friend is the prime suspect.
That baby didn't deserve that. That baby couldn't fight for himself. He couldn't protect himself. I can't imagine the fear in that poor baby.
Detectives spent the day collecting evidence. They say the boy's mother was working overnight. She left the 7-year-old in the care of her boyfriend. Sources tell us the woman's boyfriend called her from the house this morning, saying something was wrong with the child. She told him to call 911. Paramedics arrived, finding the boy unresponsive, the boyfriend gone.
I just hope they catch him and, do what they have to do. Come forward, turn yourself in,
That was Sonia Monroe. That's the cousin. Again, you have all these family members speaking out, but the mother is not asking for the, like, it's almost like harboring a fugitive. Like, she should know where this dude be at and where he hangs out at, right? But now they eventually caught him. But I just think it's weird how everybody else spoke out except the mother. Hashtag, where's the father? I'm going to throw this out there. Why is it that the mother refused to let the father watch his son instead of some dude that she just recently met and started dating? Ask yourselves that question. Let's keep going.
We're here on Wequahic Avenue in Newark. Police are patrolling outside the home of Ayden Brown. The 7-year-old died on Monday, and police have called his death suspicious. But now, here on Tuesday, prosecutors announced they've made an arrest. Mark Harper has been arrested for endangering the welfare of a child. The 36-year-old is said to be the boyfriend of the victim's mother. Authorities say Harper was caring for the second grader. Ayden Brown was found unresponsive at his home Monday morning. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. The cause.
Again, people are asking in the chat. They said, "Where are the men in these? Where are the men in the boys' families?" That's my point. Every story that we do, more times than none, you're gonna see nothing but women. I want you guys to notice that, especially in the black community. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. The cause of the child's death will be determined by an autopsy, but it is being investigated as a homicide. Candles have been lit at a memorial for Ayden Brown right in front of his home. Prosecutors say that Mark Harper was taken into custody at the Essex County Correctional Facility. This is still an active investigation, so anybody with information is asked to contact the prosecutor's office. Reporting tonight from Newark, Tom Murphy.
Bad one out of Newark. A child beaten to death, and according to a law enforcement source right now, police are looking for the mother's boyfriend. News 4's Gus Rosen.
Now, keep in mind, they've already arrested him. This is a little bit older. This is like a day ago. The current information is he's already been caught.
He's working up details. He's at the scene. Gus?
All right, David. Yeah, police just blocking off the roads here. All of this coming into us as we come on the air here. The investigation, we should emphasize, in the very early stages. But as you touched upon that, law enforcement source telling us it does appear that child may have been killed by someone who was supposed to be taking care of him. We are at the intersection of Bergen Streets and Wequahic Avenue here in Newark. A law enforcement source telling us that a mother of a 7-year-old boy went to work last night and left the child in the care of her boyfriend. This morning, we're told the boyfriend called her and said something was wrong with her son. So she said, call 911. When EMTs arrived, the initial impression with those first responders was that the child was beaten to death and that child was alone. The boyfriend on the run. He hasn't been seen since. There are reports he's been driving a dark blue Nissan Altima.
You guys hear that? What was he driving?
Dark blue Nissan Altima.
That's exactly why I showed that picture of the girlfriend. Listen again.
Since there are reports he's been driving a dark blue Nissan Altima.
That was the car that she was taking a picture sitting on. The mother, Melanie Brown. Listen again.
Dark blue Nissan Altima.
You guys heard that, right?
Dark blue Nissan Altima. We should point out no names or ages of suspect or the mother have been released at this point. A very early investigation to be sure. But law enforcement sources are telling us that the boyfriend is at this point considered the prime suspect.
Now, what that means is that he more than likely took her to work like baby boy in her car. And then he had her car and the baby in the car. So she's letting this boyfriend drive around in her car. You guys catch that? That was what he ended up leaving in and left her baby dead at the house. Let's keep going. Did she report the car stolen? No, she did not.
Breaking news tonight. A man who had been arrested in connection to the death of a 7-year-old is now charged with murder. Mark Harper is accused of killing his girlfriend's child, Ayden Brown. On Monday, police were called to a home on Wequahic Avenue in Newark on reports of an injured child. When they arrived, they found Ayden unresponsive. He was rushed to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say the child was in Harper's care at the time of the incident. A medical examiner ruled today the child died from blunt force trauma. Harper had previously been charged with endangering the welfare of a child. Again, those charges upgraded to murder tonight.
This is the last video, so you guys do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Keep sharing the show. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up.
He was too young. He was a baby, the sweetest kid.
Family members say 7-year-old Ayden Brown was a healthy, happy, and loving young boy. This morning, he was found dead in his Wequahic Avenue home in Newark. Officials are calling the death suspicious.
One of my babies. One of my babies. One of my babies.
Heartbroken family members say he was beaten and the person who killed him is still out there.
He suffered. They hurt him. They killed my cousin. They killed him. And it's not nice. It's not right.
If you out there, you better turn yourself in.
The Essex
Holy hell. I know they hurting, guys, and I know y'all hate it when I do this, but I'm going to play this again. This is sad.
It's not right.
If you out there, you better turn yourself in.
Nice. It's not right.
If you out there, you better turn yourself in.
Right.
If you out there, you better turn yourself in. If you out there, you better turn yourself in. If you out there, you better turn yourself in. If you out there, you better turn yourself in.
Guys, yeah, it's funny, but it's not funny. Come on, man. Where are our brothers at that are out here fighting for these children? Hashtag, where are the men? You can't just have DJ Just Jay on the internet calling these people out and calling these men out and risking his life by getting death threats from these dumbasses out there that want to threaten my life for me just doing news stories and calling things out that I see. But I think it shows it shows how much the mother doesn't care. The mother's not out there on the front lines campaigning for her boyfriend to turn himself in. She's out on the news talking about the injustice that happened to her kid. You know why? Because she was in love with this dude that she just met that was a thug, and apparently she don't think very highly about herself, and she damn sure didn't give a shit about her kid. To just leave your kid with some dude you don't even know like that? They got tattooed tears, that has an extensive criminal history? Melanie Brown? And even the mother has a little bit of a criminal past. That doesn't mean you can't be redeemed from it, but this dude just got off some bull crap in 2012 for all kind of stuff. That's the last person that you should have in custody of your kid while you are at work. When you have Miss Judy, Miss Great Aunt, you better turn yourself in. Well, you know what she should have been saying? You better, Melanie Brown, bring your kid by here and not let that thug take care of your kid. You better not be dating no thug. You better not be putting your kids in harm's way. Why do we care so much after the fact than we are being preventative from this bullcrap from going on? Can I say that one more time? Give me one more time to say that one more time. Why are we so caring about children after they are dead than we are before something bad happens to them by putting them in precarious situations? Miss Judy, you better.
It's not right.
If you out there, You better turn yourself in.
The Essex County prosecutors.
Miss Judy, you're wasting your breath. You're wasting your energy. Because like I said, if you really cared about these children, you care about them before something bad happens.
The office is investigating, but has remained mum about what exactly happened. We know a 911 call was made at 8 a.m. this morning. The boy was transported to Beth Israel Hospital, less than a 3-minute drive from the home, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead. Investigators have been in and out of the home, recovering bags of evidence.
How could somebody hurt a little kid? Just evil people.
According to relatives, Ayden's mother had recently started dating a man who would often care for the child.
Boom! I almost forgot that was in this story. Listen to it again. Listen again. Relationship rehab. Listen to this again. Listen to this again. How long has she been dating him? Relationship rehab. Matter of fact, how long do you think a woman should have to date a man before she starts leaving her kids in his possession? Listen to this again. How long were they dating?
Recently started dating a man who would often... Ayden's mother had recently started dating a man who would often care for the child. His mother had recently started dating a man who would often care for the child. His mother had recently started dating a man who would often care for the child. His mother had recently started dating a man who would often care for the child.
She recently started dating this dude, Mark Harper, age 36. Recently started dating him. Meaning she didn't know this dude from a can of paint and you put your baby in his possession. And he killed your kid. Melanie Brown.
Family members have been unable to locate that man and want him to come forward and talk to police. They say he was at the home when the ambulance arrived.
He ran out the house and jumped in his Ayden's mother's car, and he's on the loose.
You hear that? Listen again. She jumped in her car. Listen again.
He was at the home when the ambulance arrived.
He ran out the house and jumped in his Ayden's mother's car, and he's on the loose.
Just turn yourself in.
Ran out the house and jumped in his Ayden's mother's car.
She almost said baby mama, but she said jumped in Ayden's mom's car.
And he's on the loose.
Just turn yourself in. It's not fair.
Guys, I don't have a whole lot really extra to say about this. Like I said, people might be wondering why I put the mom's information out there, because I felt like it was important. Let me see if we get this off my screen. Trying to put the right thing back on the screen. Sorry about that. There we go. Now, I felt like it was important to put that information out there because, like I say, if she has other children, that means she could be potentially putting these other children in harm's way, especially after she decides to date the next thug. Because if she's dating thugs, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm a creature of habit. I'm a person that I believe in people's habits. And people show you who they are based on how they act. And if she's the type of person to date thugs and put her kids around strange thugs, then she more than likely is not going to put her children around somebody that's reputable, especially being in her latter years. Let me see if I can find out how old she is. I don't remember. If I'm not mistaken, I think she is, she's in her 30s, if I'm not mistaken. This woman right here, Melanie Brown. So if that's the case, then like I say, I think it is good for us to be on watch and to be on warning if something else happens or another situation like this happens. So you guys have to just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. If you see something, say something. Continue to keep looking out for these children. And like I say, man, you know, it's up to us in order to try to take care of these children, because the black community at this point has no sense of direction. They have no sense of logic, and they damn sure don't care about these children. So it's up to us to stand against these thugs and criminals and bad parents, including the mothers. That is my 2 cents. I want to say thank you guys so much for joining the show. That's the end of the show.